We have Saladin. The 4 games now, and they've switched colors every time. He's our blue Protoss player. His opponent down at the bottom right-hand corner, sporting the red trunks. That is ZeNEX.Yong. He is our red Protoss player. So here we have it. LSR Deluge, and ZeNEX.Yong is still on the brink of elimination here.
I'll give you a quick chance to go ahead and describe the map a little bit for those of you guys who may not have been tuned into the Mapmaker tournament.
Okay, so this is LSR Deluge, and your main to natural is pretty easy to go ahead and take and hold onto. In fact, you have a not too wide of a ramp, something about the size of Shakura's Plateau sitting out there, but the main feature is that you have this little jut of land with bushes. Jut.
I like that.
Yes, jut of land.
Is that even a word?
Bushes. Yeah, of course it is.
Okay.
And
I trust you, man.
Yeah,
I do. I want to call it like a peninsula.
So you have bushes back here that actually protect vision, and you have situations where you can either use this to defend your third, which is protected with destructible rocks, or you can just use it to watch units up at the front. Makes this a lot harder to assault, even given a pretty wide ramp right here. So just one Xel'Naga tower in the middle. That means there's a ton of attack paths that go along the side that can actually just rely on having map control, which is something that we quite like. And that's about it. There you go.
Alternatively, that jut of land can also be used offensively by a very bold player. Granted, it's right in the frontal view of the ramp, but I would imagine some Protoss players may be using that as a blink location. Proxy doesn't really come to mind because it's right there in the front of the ramp and most players would detect it, but I mean, I could see that being used in an offensive manner as well.
Sure. And not too much being shown at the moment. Let's see if these dastardly probes try and steal some gas once again. 2 out of 3 games that's actually happened. Now, the game where it didn't happen, we actually had our most unstable, ridiculous base trade game, so maybe I am hoping a little bit for another game like that, because that was just crazy. And Saladin looks like he's going to steal his opponent's gas. There's the 75, there's the gas steal, and there's the gas steal from ZeNEX.Yong.
Same exact difference again from these two players, and a little bit of I guess difference from the previous game, because in the previous game both players decided to grab a double gas apiece, and that just went all out crazy. So this time we're reverting back to the way it was.
Yeah.
And I would imagine we're going to have a possible 4-gate from both these players, although ZeNEX.Yong really likes to get that Stargate out.
Yeah, he does, but with his gas stolen this time around, it's going to be a lot harder to try and accomplish.
Didn't stop him last time, though.
Saladin stealing his gas again. He's got his little treasure. ZeNEX.Yong with his little treasure of gas as well. So both these players have done dastardly, unovercomable damage. No, I'm joking.
I think that the 5 minerals is more damaging than the 4 gas.
It's still fun, though. I always have liked that. It's so cute to me. Because probes, when they run away with their little present, they just look like little cats. Look like little kitty cats. Oh, you can't really see them at the front.
Don't they?
Oh, well, yeah.
Now it's getting shot at by a big bulldog.
That's true.
Chased away by a dog. But it looks like right now ZeNEX.Yong is going to go ahead and lose his assimilator because that Solid is wailing on it. A second gateway being added on by Yong as well as he tries to get his gas down. And in the next couple of moments, we're going to find out what kind of builds these 2 players are going to opt for. A third gateway being thrown down by Yong. So we're just waiting to see if he goes for the 4-gate as he gets another gas.
With 2 probes. Alright, selected 2 probes and have them both sent over there. Saladin getting up his second gas, only quite a bit later than his opponent, but he too has his second gateway coming up for the moment.
So just one less gateway from Saladin.
Right, so we'll see if he decides to go into Robo, or if he's going to be content to sit back on 2 gates or press ahead for a few more.
I'm guessing he's going to go for Robo because he would have thrown those gateways down already.
And Yong is actually going for a couple of centuries, so he's not going to invest in as much tech quite yet.
Both players looking like they're going to tech up here. I don't think either one's going to go for a 4-gate. And I would imagine both of them are going to go for Robo or Twilight Council, and there is a Robo coming down for Saladin.
For both, actually. Yes. 3-gate Robo for ZeNEX.Yong, 2-gate Robo for Saladin. 3-gate Robo for Saladin, just the 3rd gate was avoided.
Every little detail must be scrutinized in Protoss versus Protoss. And there's a Twilight Council coming up.
This is 3-gate Blink Stalker where he's just going to use the robotics facility for an observer.
Or, you know what I've seen a lot of Protoss players do nowadays? Be using the Warp Prism instead of the Observer for spotting.
That's very true, yeah.
Because then you can bring in backup as well.
And there's Twilight Council out of Yong.
Wow, so both going to go for the exact same build order, though, just kind of taking different paths, but arriving at the same conclusion. And we'll have to see, once their 2 paths do cross and meet, who's going to come out ahead.
And there's 4-gate Robo, 4-gate Blink Stalker.
All in.
Back on Yong's side of things with 3 gates, but of course he's had those 3 gates up a little bit quicker than his opponent, and that's reflected slightly in supply.
He's adding on the 4th gate.
Had just a little bit, and there you have it. So 4 gate Robo with Twilight Council for both players. And there's the observers coming up.
Now,
Blink is already on the way for Saladin, and Blink is on the way now for ZeNEX.Yong.
Now, I've seen Saladin do this before. He's very, very good at this. And what he did against MVP Tails is he brought the Warp Prism in and shuttled in Immortals and Sentries, and then blinked the Stalkers into the opponent's main. And then what he did, what he did with the Sentries is force field the ramp so that the Protoss forces on the outside could not come in, and he just devastated the inside. He gutted the inside of the enemy Protoss main, and that's what I'm imagining he's going to do in this game as well.
All right, well, we'll see if that is indeed going to be the case. Chrono Boost being expended on Blink at the moment, so both players are pretty close to their Blink research times. And there's the Warp Prism for Saladin. So
he's doing it.
Okay. We're going to see what both these players have to offer now. The observers are making their way to their opponent's bases.
The problem, though, is this build worked out really well when the opponent didn't have Blink.
Yong.
And when ZeNEX.Yong has Blink, that means that the force fields at the ramp from the inside of the main are not going to be able to keep the forces away, because Yong can blink his Stalkers back into the main. So I don't think this strategy is going to work out nearly as well. And what actually happened is an epic base race between Saladin and MVP Tails, so I'm expecting possibly the same exact thing.
Oh, and it looks like Yong actually canceled his Warp Prism when he found out about this. Saladin did not cancel his, though, so he's going to make his way out there. But this could be the situation that you were talking about. So Yong cancels the Warp Prism, kind of recognizing what was up in the situation that was about to develop.
Yep.
All right.
And the thing here, like I said before, those force fields are not going to keep his Stalkers away from the main, because ZeNEX.Yong has Blink. He can blink back and forth. So I don't think Saladin should be investing too many into Sentries here. I think he should just stick it with Stalkers and try to basically bucket into his main and see what he can do.
Just try and warp in some units here and be annoying or something like that. Yeah. Flank his forces. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, well, it's going to come down to a big old fight here in just a second. Looks like Yong has a slight advantage in terms of supply, but he's back in workers, which means he has an extra Stalker sitting on the field or something like that. Actually,
Immortal comes out.
That's an Immortal, because there are 2 observers that are up.
Oh, Yong is looking solid right here.
Oh, no, that's 2 observers that are up for Yong. Okay.
I don't think Yong can be penetrated right now. I think Saladin doesn't have an opportunity. Really, he went for the Warp Prism, and he didn't make use of it. That was a problem. He just made a Warp Prism, 200 minerals, basically wasted at this point because he hasn't done anything with it yet.
And Saladin decides to expand.
Wow.
Yong actually going to do the same thing. I thought Yong, because he has the Immortals, may have decided to just go ahead and try and put on some pressure and win the game outright. But it looks like he's going to rely on his macro, opting to throw down that expansion as well.
Wow, both players actually settling down into a macro game once again. Something about these 2 players, I don't know what it is. It's either A or B. It's black and white between these 2 guys. Either it's just straight up all-out base race, or you have a macro situation.
And Saladin, actually, his pro count was kind of clever. He cut himself. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I thought he was the one who was exactly at 30. It was actually Yong who was at 30 for a good period of time. Of course, max saturation on 1 base. But he'll be able to Maynard over some in a bit. He's the first to go to Robo Bay, though. So he's going to be a little bit quicker on the Colossus front. Nothing of the sort is up for Saladin.
Too.
Ooh, and Saladin's a wee bit supply block. Not that big of a deal because he didn't have the resources to bring in any more units, though.
I think this is a problem, really, for Saladin. The fact that Yong's not only already got the initial Immortals out on the field, but he's about to get the most powerful Protoss unit of all, which is the Colossus. And typically, when a Protoss player gets the quick Colossus, usually it's a trade-off. The enemy player will have some other tech advantage, like Immortals or something in the Twilight Council, but that's not the case this time.
I certainly agree with you. Saladin's opportunity is going to come in the backstab that he actually does with the Warp Prism. If he can actually disrupt his opponent's economy for long enough and prevent any sort of re-warp-in, Saladin can just hold back, sacrifice a few probes, and just go ahead and feel secure from there. But as it stands, he's only now drawn even on Immortals, and he's going to be behind that Colossus on top of that. Now, yes, he does have twice the Stalkers of his opponent, but not that many Zealots, and who knows? The tech advantage has certainly gone to Yong, though.
Yeah, the tech advantage has gone to Yong. The raw brute force of the Stalker advantage has gone to Saladin. But, you know, in Protoss versus Protoss, having a bunch of Stalkers isn't really that nice.
When you
having that Colossus is so much better.
When you have Immortals and Colossi on the field, that Stalker number really, really goes down.
And he's pushing out right now.
Yes, he is.
Now, the thing here is, don't forget Saladin has a Warp Prism in the background, so he could certainly bring that in for reinforcements or bring it in to harass. We'll have to see. We'll keep our eyes on it on the minimap, but it looks like Saladin is gearing up for what seems to be an Omega push here. And is Yong prepared for this? He has one Colossus, a second Colossus about to join out with his army. I think Yong should be okay. It's going to be pretty clutch. But the longer that Saladin waits, the second Colossi will join.
And Saladin has to use his blink purely for micro and getting
There's a
units
Warp Prism
out of there. So the Warp Prism is at the back, dropping in a few Zealots. And Zealots are pushed back for now.
Oh,
but
he's trapped on both sides.
Force fields. Yeah. And the Zealots are actually going to fall down pretty quickly. He makes his way up now, though, and it looks like Saladin's going to commit.
Oh, this is a big battle right here. Those three Immortals are up in the fray. The two Colossus also doing some damage. But the thing is, Yong is being attacked from two different fronts, and he's getting surrounded. I think that Yong could be in some serious trouble, but no, he has enough forces to hold it off, and he's going to destroy the front force and take care of the back. But the thing is, how many probes did he lose?
He lost only 9 workers, and that's
enough.
not unovercomable. No, Saladin's in a fine spot. He's got thermal... I'm sorry, Yong's in a fine spot. He's got thermal lances. Blink is killing multiple stalkers. He's killed the forward pylon. He's up by 22 supply. And I don't know if Saladin can even just hold back this force that's advancing across the map at him.
And actually now he's going to go for a Desperation Dark Templar play. I don't think he's going to be able to get it out in time. This could be game right here. Unbelievably, Yong might take this to the distance, and we may have a rubber match, game 5 between the two players, although the Warp Prism warping in units once again in the back of the mineral field. But it was canceled by Stalkers that destroyed the Warp Prism, and that should be all she wrote.
Yeah, I think so as well. This Immortal hasn't done any damage, immediately goes down. These probes are just lining up for the Colossus to just obliterate them. And that Colossus 8 kills, 9 kills, and going up. Just a few units left on the field for Saladin. Under 20 supply, and there's the G.
Wow.
And he leaves the game.